Hello everybody, this is going to be my first video. It's going to be a short review of the Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. I did another video, however it was on a DSLR and I couldn't get the image to stay in focus. As you can see, I have the new version, so it comes in this big fabric box, which is quite nice, and it has the Speedmaster emblem in the middle. So with this new box comes a bunch of Omega accessories, which is quite nice that they went above and beyond and gave a few extras for the purchase price. This is the Omega operating instructions. Not only does it contain the operating instructions of my watch, but it contains the operating instructions of everything in the current Omega range, and it does so in a couple of languages, so it is quite big. This is a suede wallet. It's to contain the different cards that the Omega comes with. I only have two. Usually it comes with three if the watch is COSC certified, but the Moonwatches are not certified by COSC, so they're not a chronometer. But for my testing, it's accurate to 1 or 2 seconds a day. This is the pictogram card and the international warranty. The reference number of my watch is this. It is the Sapphire sandwich. So usually the Moonwatch that NASA has their astronauts wear has a Heslite crystal on the front and a steel case back on the back. That one is the reference number, same reference number, but it ends in 005. The reason for that is that in space, they don't care if your watch scratches in space, which the Heslite crystal is more prone to gather scratches, but it is very impact resistant and it won't shatter, which Sapphire can shatter if it's hit hard enough. The caliber on that watch is the 1861, which is not as nicely decorated and has a plastic break, where the 1863 is nicely decorated and has a metal break. The previous version of this watch was the 3573.50, and the Moonwatch's previous generation is 3570.50. When I say Moonwatch, I'm referring to the Heslite version. And the receipt is in this nice folder. It also comes with this medallion. It resembles the case back, which is nice because my watch is the Sapphire edition, so it does not have this usual beautiful hippocampus sea monster case back that the normal Moonwatches do have. So it's nice to have this. You can't really do much with it except maybe use it as a paperweight, but it's nice that they added it. It has Speedmaster engraved with the sea monster, the hippocampus, and the Omega logo on the bottom. Omega also added a loop in this case. It's a 2.5 magnification loop, single lens with the Omega logo and a tachymeter bezel decoration, I guess, on the top side. It's a rubber loop. It's quite comfortable, works quite well. This watch also contains a NATO strap. It is black and comes from Omega, and it's one of the nicest NATO straps that I have seen, but I have yet to wear it. This is a Velcro strap that also comes with the watch. It is the black Velcro strap that the astronauts used to secure their watches onto their spacesuits, but I don't plan on going to into space anytime soon, so I don't think I'll be using that either. This is the strap change tool. It's a very handy tool to have. It's great if you know how to use it, but I do advise to practice on a less expensive watch, or really Google and really learn how to use it before you do use it. Because the worst thing that can happen on a new expensive watch is you scratch it. So it's really easy to learn, but you have to know what you're doing to not mess it up. So those are my words of advice. And it's just hang tags and a couple spring bars for the watch straps. Next, I'll describe this. This is a steel bezel that fits on my watch. It is a brushed steel bezel that reminds me of the bezel on the 2915-1. It's the original Speedmaster watch. And I don't know, aesthetically I like the steel bezel better, but Omega decided that this is a tool watch, and for readability issues that the black aluminum bezel would be better. And for that reason, I do see that it is easier to read, but I like the look of this, so down the road, maybe after I experience the watch as it was intended to be, I'll switch up the look by adding this on and replacing it with this. Probably in the first or second service of the watch I'll do it. This is the updated bracelet. It's probably the only difference you'll see from this watch from the 3573.50. It comes with screws instead of push pins. This side is polished, so the screws will make it a better bracelet, more secure. It'll probably last longer, at least in my opinion. For expensive watches, I do expect screws in the bracelets and not pins. The clasp is brushed. It's a push button to point clasp with two solid pieces of metal. There's no diver's extension or anything fancy, but there is a micro adjuster. You push the pin, you put it over there for it to be the optimal fit. It doesn't come with half links, so that's how you get the best fit available. But this bracelet is nice. However, I do prefer like a 3-segment bracelet instead, so it could be brush, brush, brush. I don't like the slither of polishes, these two slithers. I'd rather it be just, it could be brush, polish, brush too. I just don't like the 5-segment look. I much prefer the 3-segment. But that's just my personal preference. I also like the older style bracelet, how it was the segments. It was shorter, I guess. It's resembling more of I don't know, a dressier watch than this. This looks kind of chunky, but that's just my taste and my opinion. Can't really fault Omega for making this bracelet. It's quite nice. And now we'll talk about the watch itself. This is a 42mm watch that includes the crown guards there. Otherwise, it measures and wears like a 40 and 41, something like that. So on the sides it's brushed, then there's polished, and then brushed again. The lugs are quite unique to Omega, where they kind of twist in. So it's a manual wound, 42 hour power reserve, Lemania 1863 movement. I'll wind it up for you guys. You actually hear the winding. It's pretty smooth, and I like the feel of it. Like I said, there's a tachometer bezel. So the way that works is, let's say a car is at the starting line, and you're a mile away, and the car is racing towards you. So you start it when the car starts, and when the car reaches you at a mile away, you stop it. It could be any units. I'm just using miles for example because I'm in America. But so now you know that the car was traveling at 500 miles per hour, or whatever units you use per hour. You could start it again if you'd like. And stop. And reset. Pretty cool, I think. Here's the main attraction, at least to me. It is the beautiful movement. So it's decorated quite nice for Omega, with the Côtes de Genève and circular graining. It says Omega, the first and only watch worn on the moon. I believe it was the first watch worn on the moon, but I believe a Rolex GMT has also been up there, so I don't think it's the only watch worn on the moon. It has cam lever action instead of the column wheel vertical clutch that you see on the Lemania 321. That would be right here. People say that the Lemania 321 or the column wheel vertical clutch is better chronograph technically, but for my uses, I really can't tell, and this works quite well for my purposes. The only other fault that you can find with this watch is in the sunken subdials, the running seconds, when you pull out the crown to set the time, it doesn't hack. There's no stop seconds. So you have to, you do a little bit of backward pressure, and it'll slow it down or halt it for a few seconds, where you could time it perfectly with the atomic clock and have it perfectly set. But there's no date, so you could, it's quick. When you want to wear it, you just wind it real quick and then set the time, you're off and running. However, this is not the 321, but the advantage of it over the 321 is that it's 3 hertz. I believe the 321 was beating at a lower frequency. However, the 321 is used by the base caliber, the Lemania, is used by Patek Philippe, Vacheron. So a lot of big names use that caliber, and this is a descendant of that caliber. So I believe this is quite a watch. The Patek 5070 uses the caliber that is based off the Lemania 321, and that's in a Patek, and it's beautifully decorated. Buttery smooth action on the chronograph. So I realized I forgot to do a lume shot, and I know a lot of you guys want to see that. So this watch uses a green lume, and it lasts quite long. And here it goes. It's quite nice. Not as bright as some divers, but works quite well for its purposes, and it's great that it's on a tool watch. So Lemania had the 321, and then it evolved to the 861. That's when it lost the column wheel and vertical clutch. And from the 861, it evolved to the 1861 with a couple more jewels involved with the movement. And then this is the decorated 1863 movement. If you know the history behind it, you'll know that NASA had a test for bunch of chronographs at the time. I believe Longines was involved, Rolex was involved, and this watch prevailed and beat the other ones out, and it was space qualified. So the rest is history. I have it on a Fluco. It's a German brand. It's a quarter-inch strap, and that is horsehide or horse leather. They use a tannery from Chicago, Horween. They do the best in the business with leather, so this leather wears quite well, and I really enjoy it. But yeah, that's about it. Please comment, like, subscribe, share if you can, and I will be sure to add new videos as soon as I can. Thank you very much.